the encounter as we navigate through life. Good evening and welcome. Let me ask you if you could just bow with me in a word of prayer. Almighty God, we give you thanks, Lord, for the opportunity to share. We just ask, Lord, that what is shared will be in accordance with your word, and that, Lord, that we will apply those things that are in accordance with your word into our lives, into our relationships. Thank you. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. All right. So, good to go, right? Yes? If we're good to go, give me a shout. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, we're good to go.
All right. So, Engel said I would share how I was the beneficiary of a wonderful wife over 4 decades. In my case, it's just not brother. Trust me, you don't get this quality wife by dint of whatever it is that you do. It's just a blessing. So, unfortunately, I can't share, that because it's not by anything on my part. This is just straight blessing. All right. So for those of you who are maybe, not as fortunate, let us go through some concrete things. So one of the things that we want to look at is a foundation thought. That if you want a good match, I'm assuming that that's what this is about, then hopefully that match will be as perceptive as you are, right? And they should also then be looking for a good match. Therefore, my suggestion is that you would need to manifest the qualities that you want to attract. Yes? So let me go where I want to go with this. So you want transportation, right? So you can decide whether you want a bicycle, motorbike, car, whatever. And so you, in your mind, work out your ideal vehicle, mode of transportation. But before you go to the dealer, I would suggest that you check to see what kind of resources you have. What is it that you're going to give the dealer in exchange for your ideal mode of transportation? And it's the same principle. So we can actually come up with a nice fancy thing, really good looking spouse, attractive, good to have on your arm, kind hearted, really understanding, selfless, and just by chance also have just inherited a fortune. Yeah. What are you offering in exchange? That's the foundation question. And so as we go through this issue of how to invite, I'm placing the onus now on the internal. We have done series where we work out finding Mr. Right, finding Miss Right, and we look at the qualities that you are looking for. This evening, what we want to look at is what is it that you have to do? How do you send out the invitation? What is it that you have to do to be inviting? Right? So that's the key. And so we want to look at, and I'm going to rush it actually, because I believe that based on the marriage seminar that we just did, the whole series from with Falling, the data is indicating that there's a steep decline in marriages where there's a steep increase in divorces. And so consequently, one of the things that we have to look at then is, that was the admonition. Somebody was asked to take up the mantle of, the church was asked to take up the mantle of preparing people for marriage. And this is part of the work that we do. We have been doing NAV Life for well before COVID, actually. And so we actually take on the challenges, the issues that people have as they navigate through life. And so this is one of the series. So today, bear that in mind as we go through this. It is more introspection. It is more, what is it that I am to do if I am to invite, if I am to attract the right person into my life? And let me just slip this in under the, under the quiet. I am a firm believer that an unhappy marriage is not something that you would want to wish onto your worst enemy. And so it is, I believe that is worse than being single. Well, I don't see anything wrong with being single. I'm just saying to you, let us be careful that as we seek a partner, that we make sure that it is the right partner. All right. Hope this is making sense. So we want to look at the whole issue of faith. And that's, I want to start there because and when I'm talking about faith, I'm just looking at the belief system, right? Just belief system. Not looking at a particular religion or any part of, I'm just looking at what it is that we believe. So even people that push back against religion are not aware that is their faith. That is their faith. So once you want to look at the faith, so what is it that we believe? Because our belief system guides what it is that we think, what we say, and what we do. Our belief system guides what we think, what we say, and what we do. What we believe and how firmly we hold to that belief, it's going to make a huge difference to how we will behave in a relationship. That's what is going to determine that. And so it is critical that we come to grips with what we believe and why we believe it before we seek to invite people into our lives. You have to understand yourself first before you can take on trying to understand others. And here it is, believe me, misaligned, firmly held beliefs is absolutely the prescription for unending conflict. Just think about it for a while. Just stop. As I said, I don't want to rush through this session. If it means that we have to go into another one, let's do it. But I have some pillars, some important areas, and I just want to just make sure that as we go through each one, we kind of just deal with it. All right. So here's this. You believe, you're a believer. You want to worship on a Sunday. The partner that you are inviting in doesn't want to worship. So you have children. You would love for the children to go and get exposed to, Sunday school, get, a deeper understanding of God's will for their lives. But this is a time for the beach. Is that likely to produce some tension? So also, it could be that he wants to worship or she wants to worship on a Saturday, you want to worship on a Sunday or a Wednesday or whatever. Can you see tension? What about the teaching? What about the whole of the behavior wrapped around your beliefs? It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. Remember, I'm talking about your faith, the whole thing that holds it together, what it is that you believe, what you hold to be true. So I hold this to be true to my core. This is, what I believe. And my partner holds something completely different to the core. I don't know how you would get married in the first place, but assume that that happens. No, nightmare. But hear this. That is why I'm suggesting that you invest in knowing where you stand and stand. Know where you stand and make sure that you can stand and that you do stand. and I'm not moving forward. And I don't want to talk a little bit more about this. All right. So Engel mentioned to you the location for some of the series that we did. So we did a series on, let's see, what it is that the people, Engel, I've lost my thought, you know. Where
Male
people,
and female differences?
huh? No. Where, gaslighting. Okay, good. Sorry. Age is all right. Take time with me. Gaslighting. We did something on gaslighting, and we were introducing the concept to many. So let me talk about what this gaslighting is about. This gaslighting is a process where somebody plays with your mind, put it this way, to the point where what you thought you knew or what you held to be true, you no longer hold that true. You don't know, as a matter of fact. The whole idea is to get to a place where you just believe that you're not able to make any decisions, that you really are misguided, you're lost. Let me give you the background to that because I want to go forward with it. It's actually out of a movie. And this gentleman wanted to take away his wife's wealth. And so what he did is that he consistently had different areas, but the major strategy that he used is that there was an attic, and what he would do is that he would make the, kind of loosen the bulb and to make it flicker, right? And his wife would say, honey, you see the light flickering? And he would just say, oh boy, darling, we really need to go and deal with this issue because there's nothing, what's going on? So this is just another sign, that really and truly their imbalance is actually being manifested in other ways. So that was the idea. That's what the gaslighting. So the whole idea is that what you see to be true, this is a blue shirt. No, man, trust me. Something is wrong because you can't see that it is white. And so gradually, he, actually got out to be crazy. Why am I going there? I'm going there because, unfortunately, rationality and emotions have a problem. They don't like to sit in the same place. And so every time emotions come in, rationality say, something, I go over there, so sit down, right? Because we can't deal with you, and vice versa. And so bear in mind that when we're talking about relationships, we're going to talk about a lot of emotions. And the risk of being totally bamboozled by your emotions is great. And so this idea of clarity of the way you are and what you hold to be true is so critical. All right, so let me give you another gaslighting example before we go to the one that is clearly before us. All right. One of them could be money. Okay. All right. So I want to control the money, and so basically I just drop little hints about, but that you don't know how to handle money. You know that you always make some bad decisions, and God forbid that you actually make some bad choices in terms of how you spend your money, and you're dead. You're dead. So leave it to me. And basically, there's another case where the man actually so confused the lady, so gaslighted the lady that she doesn't let him handle the money. And of course, he was using it to support another woman. Those are realities. So let's look at where this can take you if you're not clear about your stance and what you understand to be true. Grounded, not on your father or your mother who used to tell you or whatever it is, or some. You have identified that this is your truth. You could get to a point where somebody says to you, do you believe that I can kill you and bring you back? And you say, yeah. So Cut my throat. Cut my throat. Yeah, that just happened in our land of food and water. Understand where you're going. If you are not grounded on a faith that you understand, and that that faith is secure from charlatans, from demagogues, from great wonderful people, from wonderful spouses, great looking, that faith is secure, that you can't be gaslighted. You can't be swept off your feet, as they say. You can't just be led off because, oh my gosh, this person. And that's, by the way, that is a foundation principle of gaslighting, is that the gaslighter is seen in a way that you hold that person so dear and so sacred that whatever it is, we make excuses for them consistently until they get more and more power over you. Is that relevant though, or am I just trying to bring in, this thing because the case is in point? You will be surprised to see how many persons in marriage have given up the right to ask questions, the right to, make their own decisions, led by the nose, Huh? It's not a myth, it's a reality. And all I'm saying to you is, in order for you to be able to not find yourself in that unfortunate situation, you need to have clarity. You need to have some foundation principles, some understanding of yourself, some things that you hold to be dear, hold to be true. Having tested it, so it's not just a whim that you make up your, something. Any comments on that, by the way? I don't want, this one is I want it to be sort of interactive, because I don't want to be just here rambling myself and it's not actually seeming to be of any impact or relevance, etc. Am I overstating the risk of getting into a relationship where you could be manipulated and really just be led by your nose? Go ahead, Sister Raquel.
Evening, everyone. Yes, Brother Smith. No, you're making a very valid point, because just to add to the conversation, where the matter of the husband is the head of the wife, and the wife must be in subjection and listen to the husband, but it doesn't take away the element of being able to ask questions, make your own suggestions, and to make decisions. And so it's a very important point that you're making. And as you said, it's one of those foundational matters that ought to be addressed. And so that's why when we're having conversations of this sort, people should remember that these are decisions that you're making are long-term decisions, and they have long-term consequences. So it's a very valid point, and you're on the ball. So keep it up.
All right, thank you. Right, I'm still on the first slide, but I'm not worried about that. I'm not in a hurry tonight. This I'm not going there. I'm not in a hurry. All right, so let me say something now, because bear in mind now what we're talking about now is inviting. So this is a preparatory thing. So what are we talking about? If we are preparing, so we have our young boys, our young girls. So we're not even at the point now where we are dating or anything. We're talking about preparing. So some of the things that we need to be doing as we are grooming, and as we, in the church, maybe we have young people. Some of the things that we need to be doing is to lay the foundation, is to help them to get to a place where they understand faith, they understand belief systems, they understand the impact of these things, they understand how faith must be grounded. Those are things that we can start very young, so that again, even with friends, bear that in mind. So we're not even fully getting to the relationship, is how do we have these younger ones understand principles, so that when people come to them with certain things, they understand where they are and what is acceptable, what is not. Those are some of the considerations. We're preparing people for the future. When we are preparing citizens, we don't wait until they are 40, 50. We start from the young. And that's what I'm suggesting that we do here. Go ahead, Brother G. Brother Grenell, go ahead.
Yeah,
And then afterwards, I see Willis. Okay, go ahead.
all right. You mentioned, what if some of these don't start until the marriage has taken place? Or better yet, how can you pick up signs that, this is moving in that direction, and it could probably get worse as when you get married? How do you know,
You're breaking up, but I get the message. And that's where we're going. I'm laying the foundation for it. I'm being a little slow tonight, but I don't want to rush through this. So we're going there. I'm laying the foundation. Exactly the next slide, as a matter of fact, we'll talk about that. If I ever get there. You're breaking up, Rajli. I'm not hearing you.
just go ahead. You can continue since you will be discussing it.
Yeah, man. I'm just laying the foundation. I've been a little slow, but yeah, I get in there. All right. Thank you. Willis, go ahead, please.
All right, good evening, everyone. Let me just say, nice conversation, nice workshop. All right. In terms of faithfulness, I think this is an aspect of marriage that. Can you hear me? Are you hearing me?
Yes,
clearly?
I'm hearing you clearly. I'm hearing you clearly. Yes.
Okay, so in terms of marriage, I think there should be some more light that being shed on the whole aspect of faithfulness. And my reason for saying so, I've been observing my generation, and what I have observed about my generation is that I don't think they are exercising faith in the sense where most of these persons, they want things to happen now. They don't want to work through any trials or any form of struggles, right? So you see it clear that there is a level of, or there is a breakdown when it comes to faith, right? Where I think this affects marriages, and it also affects the family. So I see this as something to work on, right? So two persons are supposed to get married. If they are not strong in faith, I don't see the sense, because marriage, this is not a walk in the playground.
Okay.
Marriage is a ups and down thing.
Okay.
So that's my take on it.
Appreciate it, Willis. All right. So you're looking at faith in terms of confidence in God, that things will happen, patience, etc. All right. And I right now I'm only laying the foundation in terms of a belief system, whatever you believe in. And some people. Yeah. Go ahead.
I see this as, all right, first, persons have to have some level of confidence in God, because
Right.
there are going to be challenges down the road.
Agreed.
And I don't know if it is because of the whole heap of social media and the whole heap of pretty picture them, why these days it's about just fun. Marriage is not just about fun. I think that there will be challenges, and persons have to prepare themselves for whatever it is that comes.
All right, sir. Yeah, thanks, Willis. That's part of a slide that's clearly going to be next week, next session, that we will look at. How do you deal with issues that are that you didn't plan for? So let's move forward. All right. So one of the things that I think is important, and it's not a guarantee, is that if someone has a healthy respect for God. Um, if the couple, has a healthy respect for God, it's not a guarantee, believe you me, but there is a tendency for it to rule out some of the things that impact marriages negatively, right? And even because we make mistakes, despite our beliefs, despite our commitment, sometimes we make mistakes. But usually, you could be able to also then have some kind of contrition, have some kind of discussion around restoration and so on. And if not within the couple, wise counsel could also prevail. So there are some benefits, some buffers that come from ensuring that the partner that you're seeking is a God-fearing person and has an active, close relationship with God. It makes a difference if you can appeal to an understanding of what God would have us to do as a couple. Those things make a difference. Are Christians free from marital problems? Absolutely not. But I believe that you're operating from a higher stage. You have a better chance of reasoning things out, of correcting wrongs, and of having wise counsel prevail, having forgiveness in place, all of those things. So one of the things, going to part of Brother Grenell's question, and that's the recurrent decimal right through the presentation, right through all of what things that we're doing, is that you should be looking out for these signs. Even though I am saying to you, today's session is about introspection, preparing yourself, you should be looking to see, is this being manifested on the other side? So where would I be putting out my invitation if I want a God-fearing person? In a gambling den? Where? No, not. So what I'm just saying to you is that you should be guided by these principles, and you should be looking out. So in terms of relationships, again, when we talk about the Mr. Right and Miss Right, I'm strongly suggesting that is not an overnight thing. The song says, take time to know her or take time to know him. It's not overnight, and that's it. And these are questions that you need to ask. It's an interview. It's an interview for you to come and spend the rest of your life with me. Think about the rigor when somebody wants to employ an administrative assistant or an internal auditor. Look how much trouble they go through, right? And they can fire them next week. You are taking on something where you're entering into a bond that God says is sacred till death do us part. And you just go and meet them and, wow, love at first sight. Come, put on your ring. Can work. So please don't throw no stones at me. It can work, but I'm only saying to you, boss, trust me, not everybody have the same look. Ask some questions, find out some things. Watch them, just see. When you raise the question of God and church and Bible and scripture, is it, stop the noise, I don't want to hear that. Those are things that are important. But bear in mind, my first statement is that the ideal partner also is looking out. So suppose you really want to have a God-fearing person. What's your stand if you are not that way? What is your stand if you really are, abhor going to church and having anybody talk to you about anything to deal with God, because pure hypocrite in the church? Are you going to attract this ideal person? It is said that everybody wants a nice Christian man, all right? Because they're not going to get trouble, etc. But is that nice Christian man looking for what? Just think. All right. So I'm only suggesting then that as we develop, as we prepare ourselves to invite, that we should invest time in drawing nearer, finding out a lot more about what God would have us to be, draw nearer, put ourselves, in Christ, and be devoted. It's a great asset. I mean, forget it even in terms of now attracting a partner, but just as for life, it's a beautiful place to be in. So do that and encourage those of us, people that you have influence around, that this is a good thing to do. Makes you a lot more attractive to others. All right. Wow, steep curve tonight. What? I'm going there. All right. So here's another big one. What is your view about this institution of marriage? So once upon a time, it was supposed to be something for life. And so divorce was really not something that God wanted, but because of the hardness of the heart, the scriptures tell you, they say, well, okay, fine. On the basis of adultery, you can do it. What's the rule in Jamaica now? Irreconcilable differences. What that really mean? Yeah. Wife can't cook. Right? Husband don't wipe his foot before him come into the house with the dirty boots. Anything. So the question is this: what is your view about marriage? When you take that vow, are you prepared to work through issues? Willis, let's talk about that. Are you prepared to work through issues? Or the first storm that blow by, you take up your things and come back home to mommy? What? As a matter of fact, before you sign up, you have your prenup. quick. So we plan everything for exit, all the exit clauses in place before we enter. What's your mindset? What are you looking for when you decide that you want to get married? Are you the kind of person that would decide that, this is a thing that you work hard, we'll work it out somewhere or the other? And if that's the case, then what are you looking for? Should you have that dialogue with your partner? Sure, people can make commitments and change their mind afterwards. But one of the things that we have to be, if we are going to find right partners and develop right relationships, is discernment. We have to learn to be discerning. We have to be smart. We have to be able to understand signs and read behavior and know what's going on. Ask hard questions. So we need to find out what this person thinks. Let me get myself in trouble. One of the things that could help you is to look at the history, the family history. Right? And that is where the thing takes time. You need to go visit, go to a family dinner with them. And then when they bring in, you see uncle this, with somebody new because this is his third wife, auntie that. Just watch it, just see the extent to which there is a history of stability, stable marriages where there are examples, or there is a history of, break up, live with, all of that. That will tell you a story. Am I pushing the envelope a little bit? Yeah, that's why sometimes maybe I'm pushing people away from marriages against encouraging them. But I don't want to see an unhappy marriage. That's the worst thing. Yeah. So go back again to what I'm saying here is that your views as to what it really means when we say till death, that is important. That's important because it's so easy to pack up your bag and go home. Go ahead, Brother G.
I agree 100% with what you're
Hello? I hear 100%. That's the last
That's it
thing.
all. All right. It seems like my internet is not so good. Let me get a here. What I hear then.
Nah. Not working, Raji. All right. So right. So that's important. So that's the next pillar that I want to work on is, so we talk about the faith in terms of whatever the belief systems. We talk about our respect for God. That's the next one. And then this idea that how it is that we view marriage. Is it okay if it didn't work out? So yeah, but what am I to do? What am I to stay here? Whatever. So I'm ready to go. If you have that understanding of the what it really means, what the institution means, I think that you'd be a little bit more careful in terms of entering into it. You would have a greater understanding of the implications. All right. I have been neglectful. I haven't gone into the chat. I'm going to be getting guilty if you can help me. Oh, he actually has something there. 1 second. What are the core belief systems that I need to hold or share when inviting a partner? One person says, my core belief is people are not to be trusted. As a result, prenup is a must. Okay. When I spoke about the core belief systems, I didn't predicate. I didn't tell you what it is, what it isn't. I'm just saying to you, you just need to know that you have clarity as to what it is that you hold to be true, and stick with it, and then see how that is aligned with your partner. So if you are a person that think that people cannot be trusted, and you need a prenup, and your partner believes that marriage must be based on trust, I think you're going to have a problem. That's what I mean. So whatever the core beliefs that you have, make sure that you seek to have a partner that is aligned with them. Whatever it is, whatever. I dealt with that before I even talked about God, and that kind of faith. All right. So, yeah. Okay. Let's go down a little further, man. So, this is right up Willis's street now. The whole question of who you are at your core in terms of when things don't go the way that they ought to. Remember, we're preparing people to enter into lasting marriages, lasting relationships. Relationships, marriages have problems, have up and downs. Sometimes it's pure down for a long time. So the question is this: should we not build resilience into ourselves, into those who we influence, if they are to be solid partners in a relationship? Should we not help them to be more resilient? So the question that we have to ask as we do the self examination is, how resilient am I? How do I respond when things don't go as planned? Do I just fly off? Am I hopeless? Do I lose all my rationality and just panic and say, woe is me? Yeah. Shortage of funds. Oh my gosh, the furniture is going to be on the street. They're going to throw me out. Every little, anything. It's a panic. You just are not rational whenever a problem arises or a crisis arises, or maybe you call it a crisis. Where are you on that? Because if that is the case, when the challenges come in the marriage, what are you going to do? Are you going to be the one to help to hold it together, or are you going to be freaking out such that your partner can't even make rational decisions? How much pain can you endure? It just, psychological, mental, financial, whatever it is. How tough are you really? Those are some of the things that if it's not the case now, you need to work on. Need to start to look at the crises in your life, that you see them now, and to try to dissect them a little bit and to see, really and truly, is there a way out? Could I have handled this? Is there a better way that I could have dealt with this issue or that issue? It's critical for us to develop. Everybody now is looking at the organizations now and talking about resilience, because with the COVID and with all of this disruption is taking place, a lot of organizations have found that they were not resilient, that they could not respond, that the staff weren't ready to deal with change. And they still know some of them are not able to come out of COVID. And so that is why this is so important. And that is what is happening in marriages, has been happening for years, centuries in marriages, is that some of the persons who have entered into the institution, entered into the relationship, and are ready. They went in for better. And when the worst hit, neither partner, or one of them, maybe, or both, just are not, couldn't find themselves in a coping zone. This is something I'm saying to you. If you want to invite the right partner into your relationship, one of the things that I think that you should look for is to be resilient, be able to work through, suffer through, if you want to call it that as well, challenges, such that a partner could find that, see that as an attractive trait. Because who wants to take on a burden where for every little thing, there is a screaming or whatever it is, or a throwing up of the hands and a hopelessness, as against, let's put our heads together. Let's, first of all, go in prayer. Let us look at our faith, see how we can navigate through this. Which would you prefer? Somebody who is hopeless, believes that, this is beyond us, or somebody is saying, hey, no, it's all right, hold on. Let's take a deep breath. Let's stop a little bit. Yeah, let's do some introspection. Let's go maybe into some prayer and fasting. We can work this out. We can work this out. That's the kind of partner that I think most of us would like to have. And again, if you want to attract something, be it. Yeah. I read, listen to that Blinkist, where this lady was saying that she got it from her mother. Everything is figure-outable. Everything is figure-outable. You can start it out. There's an answer to everything. Everything is figure-outable. I love it. All right. So yeah, big question with this now then is, what happens if the Coca-Cola bottle, the whatever it is, the 6-pack, what happens if the person actually gets injured, have to be in bed, you have to take care of them? Is that the kind of thing that you could sign up for? Or that is just, work, but I believe you me. I see people do it, but I don't think I could manage that. Those are some of the thoughts that they have to go through, Those are some of the thoughts that they have to go through. Yeah. All right, moving along.
Mr. Smith, we have a question for you in the chat.
Please, okay. Let me go there. Thank you, sir, for helping me. So Shanila says, how do you deal with the emotional trauma of trying to work out the challenges of the worst when the other party is just giving up. Okay. All right. So good question. How do you deal with the emotional trauma of trying to work out the challenges of the worst when the other partner is giving up? So there's a crisis, there's a problem, right? And one party is trying to work it through, and the other party is saying, "But I can't manage it. It's done. It's a hopeless case." It goes back, unfortunately, to the selection, but you are in already, so you can't deal with that. And for me, it goes to this whole issue then of being really strong when it comes to this idea of resilience. So that even if you are the only one carrying the burden, if you are the only one that has the faith, if you are the only one who can still be rational, if you are the only one who still have the energy to fight to get through this, those muscles, resilience muscles that you developed over the years will help you then. And that's why I'm saying this is a training ground as well, that you need to practice these things. You need to take another look now when something happens. How are you responding? How rational, how not rational is the word I'm looking for. How adapt, those are not the words. I'm trying to find, yeah, the problem solving. To what extent are you developing your problem solving skills? So that when things arise, as you develop those problem solving muscles, you are better able to deal with things that come up. And so and if you can't deal with them, you learn to work through, endure. Those are some of the things, so that at least one of you would have had the muscles, the strength to be able to deal with the challenges. And if you have not yet entered, those are some of the things that you need to identify in order to find the right partner. So let's ask, on a date, instead of Google, whatever it is that you want to do, ask about it. Tell me something, boy, give me an example. An interview, I'm talking an interview is an interview. And one of the interview questions that people have, share with us an example of when you faced a tough situation. What were the circumstances and how did you navigate through it? Ask that at the dinner. Why not? And be willing to share it. Yeah. Find out, what was the worst thing ever happened to you? How you manage it? Ask it. Ask it. Yeah, okay. Don't call any psychiatrist on me. I'm not crazy. I'm just seeing that these are things that I would want to know. All right. So, Alfonso Grenell, what if the worst comes in the first 6 months of the marriage? Better for worse, not for, yeah, basically what I'm saying is, the answer that I just gave to Chanela is that you have to go in, at least pray that one of you has developed resilience. All right. So if you are in the marriage already, it's not too late. You can work on that. But I'm just suggesting for people that are listening to me, prepare, develop your problem solving muscles, develop your muscles of endurance, develop your resilience, your flexibility, your capacity to deal with change. Those are things that are front and center right now. Those are things that you need to be able to develop, because those are the assets that you're going to bring into a relationship. Just think about it, like, forget relationship. Think about it like a business. You're going into a business, what kind of partner you want to have? You want to have a partner that as soon as the sales go down and whatever, they say, boy, let us lock down shop. Or you want people that are saying, no, man, we can find a way. That's what it is. That's what we want in the relationship as well. And what kind of interviews and what kind of data are you going to try and find out on this partner that you are invested in this multi-million-dollar business? Are you going to ask more questions? Going to try and find out from him or her what it is that they have faced and how they have dealt with it? How do we test resilience, Brother Engelson, or identify resilient person ahead of the marriage? It seems dating for a sustained time is helpful during the inviting stage. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Ask questions. I don't know, you can shorten the process by asking tougher questions. Just let it be known that, all right. Hmm. Here's the question now. One of the things that I'm not sure that I have a slide about it, but one of the things that I'm thinking about is when you enter the relationship, what is your goal? Is it just dating, or are you looking for long term? That's an important question. Let me tell you why I'm asking it. Because if you are looking for long term, you really don't have a lot of time to fool around. All right. So that's why you can actually have the discussion to say, listen to me. I am really interested in marriage, in a long term, lasting marriage. And so as we interact here, I'm sorry, but we need to ask ourselves some questions so we understand each other better. Can have some fun, etc., etc. But don't be offended if questions are put so that we can understand whether this is right for us or not. I don't see any problem with that. And if the person objects, then maybe they're the right person. So what I'm saying is, yes, ask the questions. That's how you can know if the person is resilient. Let me tell you, the best predictor of future action is past behavior. And that's why there's this concept now that they call behavioral interviewing, where you actually ask the person to recite situations that they have navigated in the past. Not imaginary. I'm not asking you, how would you handle this? I want to know how you handled it in the past. That's the key. Find out from them. Give me some of your history. What happened at school? What happened? I want to know some of the things that you have gone through, because that will tell me something about your mindset. That will tell me, you might have learned. That's fine. But I want to know. So ask the questions. Ask the questions.
Mr. Smith.
Sir, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I can't raise hand because I have the co-host. But
Okay.
you know that there are a few men who don't like questions.
Not for me. Sorry. You don't want me asking the questions? Okay, go date Mary, not me.
Don't like a lot of question asking, and too many questions can be a turn off.
But date me.
What's the best strategy that a woman can, or female person of opposite to the male can ask, or how to test?
Let me let me answer that as frontally as possible. And believe me, I am unchained. I'm sorry. When it comes to this matter, I just see too many terrible, unhappy situations. So I get very passionate about this. So let me just say something to you. I need to know you better. Yes, you're handsome. Yes, you have money. Yes, all of that. But I need to understand you better. And if you can't answer my questions, how are we going to live 40 years, 50 years when I'm going to ask you questions then? What will happen then? So maybe we're not so compatible. And yeah, I'm not in a hurry. So if this is offending you, maybe you need to talk to, spend some more time with Annette or Jane, but not work out for me. That's my straight answer, honestly.
Then the follow-up thing though is, how do we really tell ourselves? Because a lot of times we see the signs. All right, the person's not willing to answer the question. I would say, okay, that's just how it is. You're saying then that there are some things you just can't compromise on, which is the core beliefs. And as a result, if we're not getting the questions answered, then you're saying that we should not try and cover this, or try and lessen our values because we're not getting the answers that we want. Basically, that's what you're trying to say.
I'm saying exactly that. I would say to you, you can roll the dice if you want. To say, well, oh no, he's just sensitive. Yeah, maybe he's shy. You don't really want to talk to him. You can tell yourself any story you want. And that's where I was saying to you, remember I tell you that rationality and emotions don't like the same space. So the more you get to like the person and whatever it is the more excuses you're going to start to make for them. And that's, by the way, I go back to the gaslighting thing. I'm not saying that that's the case all the time, but I'm just telling you that our capacity for rational thought, our capacity for discernment diminishes the more we get attached to the person. So that's where I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And here's, yeah, might as well. Let me just go on and get myself in trouble and done. Part of the problem is that um, some of us are working on a clock. I'm feeling that there's time and that, boy, this look like a good opportunity, let me, yeah. Let me excuse it because you know how terrible people, men and women out there, that this one look good. Let me excuse a lot of it because who knows when the another of this caliber comes around. So yeah, so sometimes we do it. Are we going to take some chances? Are you going to get a good answer that you can accept for every question? Maybe not, but look at the trend and look at how the thing is weighted. Just see the extent to which you're getting some or many good open answers, and when you're getting stall, dodge, stall, dodge, stall, dodge. Just go back to discernment. Go back to discernment. All right. I see some chat, and then I see Willis and I see Kenton. Man. Okay. So remain. It is important to have an excellent relationship with Almighty God. Whenever you think there is no solution for an issue, there is one in the Bible. So each and every Christian need to spend time to increase their knowledge of God's word. So you will have to go to when the issue arises. Agree? So that's one of the first things that we mentioned, that a foundation, grounding, clarity, good connection with God is important. All right. Adriana, coming to you. Kenton, Willis, I'm going to let Kenton go before you since he had a chance, and then come back to you. Facts, excuses after excuses, Adriana says. All right, go, Kenton.
Ladies and gentlemen, good night. I'm just gonna ask a question just based on that statement that we don't like ask questions. One of the most dangerous things that we as big people do, we hear a theory in some very serious things in life. If you're going on a bus in halfway through, you ask the doctor where the bus will go. But you're about to make serious commitments in life and you don't want to ask a question, that's crazy. If we're going to buy a car, we ask detailed questions. If we're going to work or go to a school, we ask detailed questions. But getting married or building a relationship, we skirt around the seriousness of it. And that is you're setting up yourself for disaster. And respectfully, I've seen many disasters and I've experienced a number of disasters that happened when the person couldn't answer the questions. The questions, it is you seeking information. And one of the biggest red flags in any relationship or a friendship is when you ask a simple question and the person is acting as if you wanted to know about this is a problem. If that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. And one of the biggest setup for us, especially as believers, is when we do not abide by wisdom and knowledge or trying to do our thing our way. God's not gonna back our thing our way when it is contrary to his word.
Thank you, sir. Okay. All right. Go, Willis. Willis?
All right, let me say good evening once more. And I could also agree. Yes, I totally agree with Kenton, due to the fact that, a lot of times we dating persons and they're behaving a little bit cagey where they don't want to answer certain questions. So in my mind, that would tell me that, there's something that you're trying to hide. Also, you see, behavior speaks a lot. And sometimes persons, they don't necessarily want to reveal certain things. But over a period of time, the behavior will reveal it. right? So, minus the emotions, that normally gets us into trouble. Put that aside, man, and just observe. And then you will form your own conclusion on what to do from what not to do. That's
All
what
right.
I believe.
All right. Thanks, Willis. Appreciate it. All right. Let me just say something last about this questioning thing. I mean, we are adults and we know how to deal with things. It's not a question that you going to say, all right, come now, John, sit down. I mean, grill you. It's not like that. So we're there, in let us say, wherever we're talking, etc. And I'm saying, man, one day at school, you see, man, believe you me, when I look back, God is good, because I tell you some things that you go through. So one day at school, so on, then you tell your story, right? So you share. This is an experience that I went through. This is a problem I had, etc. So is it hard if you set that kind of environment where you're saying, oh, sorry, anything like that ever happened to you? Tell me your story. Can it be like that? It's not a grill. Okay, sit down now. All right, sit up straight. I'm going to ask you. It's not that. So you're sensible. You're dealing with the conversation. You freely say what has happened to you, what it is that you want to share about it, and you expect then that you would have created an environment where the person will feel comfortable. So don't let us set it up like it's a grill. It's really more a conversation, and we're just exploring and we're just sharing openly what has happened. However, because of our training, we listen. We listen. We listen to the story. And by the way, that story might come back 3 years later, and it might have a completely different, some different endings, and again, which might ask you, cause you to bring up some flags. But you understand what I'm saying, though? That is, it's a conversation. It's not a grill in where the person might have to put up their hands and say, well, okay, fine. What am I going through here? All right. Go. Let's see how many more of these things we can do today. Money, 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 money.
Alison mentioned in the chat a situation which, well, in the form of a question that supports what you were just saying, Rosemary.
All right, you're going to look at it. So
yeah, I was
okay.
about to follow up by saying that my question had been addressed in what you just said. So yeah. You would have touched on it just now.
Okay. All right. No, it's not 20 questions. It's a sharing. So thank you. I really like that. Yeah. Lack of good communication is dangerous in marriage. Yes. Well, that's perhaps the number one cause is, I don't know. I shouldn't say that as a major cause of problems in marriage. All right. So money. If you believe that money is not important and finance is not important, just check and see how much of the problems that in a marriage or long-term relationship have something to do with money. Yeah. So people might say, well, money don't matter, two can live as cheap as one and we don't have to worry about money issues, but it does matter, So let me ask you some questions for us to, as we look at preparing ourselves to invite the right person into our lives for life. What is our attitude to respect the money? Not important. Wealth, not important, or very important? In order to answer that question, first thing I would want to look at is what kind of lifestyle are you enjoying now? What kind of lifestyle do you envisage? Again, marriage is similar to going into a business. Are you going into a business to be worse off than you were before, or to be better off? So, what kind of lifestyle do you envisage in the marriage? Important question. What you want to do? What you want to live? What you expect? What kind of, yeah, what kind of house? Your house or what? all of us have aspirations. Yeah. And so the question is this: look at that seriously. Look at where it is that you would like, how is it that you would like to live? And then the next question after that is, what kind of money, what kind of ongoing income is required to support that lifestyle? So this is where I want to live. This is the kind of thing that I would like to have. What is it that is going to be required to sustain that? And then the next question would be, of course, where is that coming from? Yeah. Am I expected to contribute to that? Or am I just looking for somebody who have the resources to give me that? What is my contribution towards it? And vice versa. Am I expecting my partner to contribute? So what kind of earning power should this partner have? Yeah, I hear it, and I hear the screaming out there that what are we saying? That we need to, look at people money, or, what they can earn before we can have relationship with them. Yeah. Okay, don't scream so loud. Don't scream so loud. I'm a dangerous person when it comes to this discussion. Let me just suggest that it has a lot to do with how successful that relationship is going to be. Yes, the two you can love and live in a hut and whatever it is. Yeah. But just be clear in your mind that that's what you have in mind, and that meets your aspirations, and that is what you had hoped for, and that you're not going to after some point when things not going so right, that you saying, man, look at what I'm giving up. Don't, I'm believe me, I'm not saying, I see happily married people on very, very slim income, and I see very unhappy people with $1 million income. So that's not where I'm going. I'm only saying, make sure that your idea of the kind of life that you want to live is clear in your mind, and that you have a determination in your mind as to whether you're willing to sacrifice that in order for a romantic relationship, which obviously is worth more than that. So that's it. You can make up your mind that, yes, I'm willing to sacrifice all of that to have my heart, being fulfilled, all of that. So yeah, but it is not it's not a willy-nilly decision. It's something that you determine, that you sit down and you work it out, and you're clear in your mind. Clear in your mind. Yeah. So there are situations like that. I think there was a discussion recently about that, where the person with the money is saying, "Come on, you don't have to, I will take care of you. You don't have to earn a cent. I will take care of you." Can work. What are the possibilities? Other possibilities? The other possibilities is that I feel unworthy. I feel as if I'm not pulling my weight. I feel and yesterday I did something, and the way that my partner spoke to me kind of make me feel like I'm scrounging, like I'm not, I don't deserve to be here, and I need to know my place. All of that can happen. Yes. So also the respect that comes from the person who feels that, yeah, I am the one paying the bills here. Do as I say. It can work. It can work. But give it some thought. That's all I would say. Give it some thought as to where you want to land. Okay, so in this day and age, education is going to be important. I didn't have to go into the thing about children, whether whether you want to have children or not. Those are discussions that need to have as well. That can be a major, and how many major problems going forward. All of that needs to be discussed. So what if we have offspring? What about their development and their education and so on? What kind of lifestyle, what kind of income stream, what kind of financing is required to take them where they want to go? Every generation should be better off than than the past one. So what is your vision of that as we talk? How are we going to build capacity within the family so that we grow rather than regress? I think I see a chat here. Does the word resilient imply both mental and physical strength in this context? In this context, it's mental. It's the capacity, that flexibility, that ability to navigate through challenging times. Basically, that's what it is. That whatever is thrown at you, you find a way to work your way through it. Yes. As a matter of fact, part of it also is anticipating what is coming and make sure that you mitigate the worst effects of it. So that's the context of the resilience, is that ability that you're not thrown totally off without a response. Yeah. Okay. All right. How will you develop the income earning capacity? But here's another little issue now. How about the shared accounts? Are you my money is my money, brother? Your money is your money. Yeah. How does that work if both of you have different views? Where the lady says, my little moklo, my moklo, you not touch this. You're the man, you pay all of the bills, but I earn it's for my beauty treatment and so on. Where do we go with that? Yeah? What shared account? I mean, we could just have a bank account and then nobody can just go draw out and woo, that requires a whole lot of trust. Sir. And you know that I read about a man that just take away all of the money and run away with his girlfriend. No, sir. Important discussions beforehand. Yes, Brother Engel, shared accounts. Everybody, everything thrown into one pot. Trust is good. That's what the relationship is built on. Integrity, trust, work together. What happens if the one partner gets sick for a while? What we do? Their money run out, so they what? They die? What if you get sick or lose your job? What happens? Somebody is probably listening that is saying, I never really thought about these things. And that's part of what is happening. When we're talking about relationships and getting married and all of those kind of things, sometimes it's really just about the person and whether we like them or not and all of those kind of, but somebody that we're talking about here got to the heart of whether the marriage is going to be successful or not. And we need to understand where we are on these things so we can be clear as to what it is that we're willing to accept, what it is that is a deal breaker. All right, let me try and see. Okay, and over a dozen of these things. But there's going to be another part. But I didn't want to rush through today. So this will probably carry us to the end. So demographics. And I preface every time, marriages can work between two people different age, different gender, sorry, yeah, well, it has to be of different gender, different race, I mean, different age, different culture, different education level. It's quite possible for people to live happily ever after, and coming from different things. But let me before I get into a little bit more of the nitty-gritty, let me just ask a question. Understand what it is. When people get married, let us say they get married at 25. What is happening is that they were on that 50 years of different socialization, different cultures come together, and everybody expects that there will be, everything just smooth. It just works. Bam. They just fit totally. Yeah. So many things have gone into your 25 years that are deep inside you. They know that you think it. That is part of you. It's just natural. It's just, and 25 years are the same thing. I'm just suggesting a little more of getting to know, a little more of not going at the edges. What happens when there is a 30-year gap and one partner is not as physically capable as the other? What are we saying? What are we expecting? Go back to your education level. How you communicate, what is the areas of interest, what about the children, what are our expectations, how do we deal with their development, their education. Race as all I'm saying is these things can matter, and marriage by itself is challenging. Living 40, 50 years together happily, not just living 40, 50 years, but happily, requires a lot of work, a lot of hurdles to clear. All I'm inviting you to do is that when you're sending out your invitations, try to minimize the hurdles, not add to them. That's all I'm saying. Can it happen? Yes, it can happen. It does happen. But why add hurdles? Why add hurdles if you can avoid it? You might be struck, and it is just the most wonderful thing. And thank God you did that. You look past the race, you look past the age, you look past the culture, you look past past all of those things. And here it is that you stand up as a wonderful example of diversity. Great. Think about it though. Just think about it, that it is another hurdle that you have to clear, and you have to clear it every year for 40 years and 50 years. All right, I have some more, including some of them, some more nitty-gritty, but we have tried to be disciplined, so we stop at 8. So I'm gonna just in case you miss the next session, just allocate like 5 or 10 minutes if you want to, but I am officially not going to add, but I'm prepared to answer some questions if you want. All right, so Engel is saying, sure, a lot of pros and cons to discuss and reasons surrounding the shared and individual accounts approach. Hybrid, yeah, that can happen too. I just don't believe you can have an individual and purposefully hide it. That is a problem. Oh, you mean if you have an individual account and nobody knows about it, it's a secret account, professionals can win. I'm like, oh. All right. Yeah. I don't think that, yeah, you can have hybrid, I agree. But it is best for people to know that, yeah, I suppose, it might come across the partner who then finds out that you have this secret cash might not be as comfortable with it. So, yeah, transparency is healthy. It's healthy. But I can also understand that somebody might want to have a private account, a personal account. Not the private, I mean personal, individual as well. So that, all of these things just need to be discussed, you know. And if the partners agree that they really would prefer to, you know, especially if you know, earning some really big bucks, you might just decide that, you know, something, I don't want to take a chance. I just want to continue. And then when we're ready to do something, we can actually both just contribute to the process from our private. So all of that is possible. All right. Any other questions based on either what we have covered?
I have a question. I think I have two questions, Mr. Smith. I think one is bother me.
That sounds like Sherry.
Sherry said,
Our original first and lasting love life participant.
so the topic says attracting the right person, partner.
Invited, yeah.
Yeah. There are persons who are of the view that if someone is pursuing anyone, whether a male should pursue a female anyway, and you really don't like the person, don't like the person. Persons are of the view that, you know, you can eventually like the person, get married to the person, and you can eventually like the person. I don't agree with that anyway.
You said get married to the person?
Yes, I've heard it reach the point where, oh, this person is also seen like a so-and-so person. Of course, let's get married to the person and you'll eventually go to like the person and wherever it go and deeper than that and stuff. And that annoys when people say that. So I want your view on that and not ask other question.
You really want my view?
I don't think I don't think you agree with that, but I don't know where people get them use your from. Cause I might say, oh, but you know the person I pursue you a long time or I pursue her a long time or whatever. And so just give the person a chance, man. You will like the person eventually.
Sherry, I think that person is a Christian. Well, let me say this. I think that person is a Christian. And what they are saying is that you have the idea that you keep your enemies close to you, know, love your enemies, right? So that's
all right. So Mr. Smith. So the next question now. All right. So you mentioned getting to know the person's background and family and stuff. What if it's a case where this person is a divorcee, right? And then the person's parents have been divorced as well and remarried and stuff. How do you think persons doing stuff like that?
I can't find a flag. I can't find a flag, but I just want to. This is red. This is red. Okay. This is red. This is red.
Mr. Smith, do you know that I remember saying to someone, right? Because I know of a situation like that, and I'm saying, oh wow, like wow, that says something, you know what I mean? But then the person say, oh, it's the other person blocking me emotionally and don't want to read it, and why they said I don't like me, or you know what I mean? But we can say, all right, then, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So the question that I would ask that, you know, that person who is pursuing is, talk to me about divorce. What were the conditions? What happened? If it is for anything, well, it's that big discussion with the other night. I don't want to get myself into that trouble not tonight. But if it wasn't that his partner committed adultery and that he got the divorce on the basis of that partner's adultery, then the conversation ends.
Well, the person has said that that's a part of it as well. Okay. But the same person, well, that's a part of it. The same person's parents got divorced too, but the parents have been remarried, and the person wants to get married. Yeah,
but I, you know, believe you me, quite a few men and women out there, you know. Yeah, I'm not sure that that particular one is the only one, you know. So I definitely do in terms of the divorce and remarriage. There was a big discussion in the marriage seminar that we just had. So clarity about that is that if the person is long discussion about it the other night. But I would suggest that you just move on. That's not bother with it. Not bother with it. All right. Last question.
Thank
All
you.
right. I see something in the chat. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna say exactly. One partner is a spendthrift can agree to any money over X amount must be discussed before withdrawing. Right. Yeah, those are some of the things that we can deal with. But the money thing can cause problems. So yeah, that's where we're going to go. All right. I'm going to invite you back on the try to see my calendar. Wow. It's the 4th of December. Wow, long time. 4th of December, 1st and 3rd Saturdays. Some of the juicier, more important issues. Well, I wouldn't say more important because I think the foundation things that we talk about tonight are critical. But yeah, we will continue this discussion, and thanks for your participation. If this added value to your store of knowledge and have helped you in any way, invite someone to come and share on the 4th of December. And remember, Engel is going to tell you all about it, where to find these things online, and so you can share as well. And I'm going to hand over to him now to wrap up. Thank you again for the participation and for the questions. And I hope, I pray that I didn't offend anybody, and that something that I said had value for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Truly happy for the discussion, for the presentation, well put together. I like the graphics and the information that was actually delivered, the content as well. So looking forward to the next discussion, December the 4th. That's Saturday, December the 4th, 6:30 p.m. Please put it in your calendar so we can get, as we have set the springboard, the foundation is being laid, so we can get into some deeper discussions. And so we look forward to December the 4th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. in the Eastern Caribbean, to continue this discussion. For today's discussion, you can review it on YouTube or Facebook at the handle Simply Christians JA. I've put the information in our chat, so you can go there on Facebook or YouTube, and you can share those links with individuals so they can be aware of this discussion and others that proceeded, and we can invite them to the next discussion. Again, the time is December the 4th at 6:30 p.m. Thanks again for the time taken to join with us for this evening's discussion. We look forward to the other on the 4th. Also, we invite you at the St. Andrew congregation. We have worship service every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. we meet at 77 Red Hills Road, Kingston, 21 Jamaica. That's 77 Red Hills Road, and we begin at 9 a.m. so you can visit with us physically. We also stream our worship services at this very same Zoom link. That's the information that we have at this time. And so as we are about to break, let us go to God in prayer. Almighty Father, we thank you, O Lord, for this evening. We thank you, dear God, for this session. We thank you, dear God, for the participants. We thank you, dear God, for our presenter. We thank you, dear God, for the organizers and those who plan the various sessions each first and third Saturday. We ask, oh Lord, that the content that has been shared, that Father, we can take this and apply it in a practical way for those who are preparing themselves for inviting persons into their lives, that Father, it will be used in a real way to help to ensure that stable marriages are created. And for those of us in marriages, Father, we just pray that in some way the content as well, dear God, will be able to help individuals, oh Father, to develop what is needed, the characteristics and qualities, oh Father, that will help to build or maintain a stable marriage. We continue to pray for all the vision of the organizers of the St. Andrew congregation and the growth of this program. We put all this to you, O Father, as we continue to pray for all our participants to keep each and every one of us safe during this time. And we continue to pray for the good quality of life and their blessings upon us all. This is our prayer. Through Christ's name we pray. Amen. Thanks again, everyone. I wish you a good evening and take care. God bless.
So it means